the elixir wash over us all. It's time for the Clash Royale League in North America. Our first match features the second rank and surging Cloud9 against a dark horse on the rise, Team SoloMid. Will the stone-faced silent assassin C. McHugh deliver another W, or will Vulcan guide his team to an upset? It's time to find out in the arena.
Hello and welcome back to Clash Royale League. I'm Rich Slayton. Joining me is Andrew Guy. We are in the midst of the fourth week here at CRL. The action has been crazy so far, and the standings starting to reflect that.
Yeah, what a day we've already had. And if we come in to look at the North American standings, we look at Cloud9 at the very, very top, right behind Complexity, 3-1. Really great start for the season for them. And then Team SoloMid on the other side, vying for one of those playoff positions. Today could be the day they work their way up into the top four.
We've already had what some have called the best match in CRL with TSM up against NRG, and hope you were there for it. If you weren't, you can fix that problem by hitting the subscribe button on the Clash Royale Esports YouTube page, going to esports.clashroyale.com, and of course swiping to the Esports tab in your Clash Royale app to follow all the action as these teams vie for those playoff spots and hope to make it to represent the North American region at the World Finals. And today, two teams continue, of course, Cloud9 in that second place spot, and TSM coming off what might have been one of the craziest finishes in all of Clash Royale history.
Yeah, absolutely. Team SoloMid, really, really crazy last game. Today they're going to come out. I'm really curious to see whether or not we're going to see the exact same 2v2 lineup with them, with Fire Surfer, and then their opponents, Cloud9, coming off of an incredible King of the Hill win, all on the shoulders of Baron, who brought it home, like I said, in King of the Hill in a crazy, crazy nail-biter.
Both of these teams have been entertaining so far in ways that maybe you couldn't even imagine, and one of the guys helping mastermind that plan is the coach for Cloud9, Eric, who is standing by with Christy St. John.
Thanks, guys. Eric, you started off with a loss, but then you turned it into a 3-win streak. So how did you turn that around?
I think we kept the same mentality throughout the whole thing. So when we lost, yeah, it hurt, but we moved on. We know our skill, we know our level, and it's just staying level-headed. Every match is this 0-0. You go in and you win.
And you definitely have the skill. I mean, last time CMQ went on an amazing win streak, but of course, across the way, we've got Vulcan, who went on a win streak of his own. Did you see anything there that worries you?
Nothing really that worries me. We respect the players on that team. We know what they're capable of, but we also know what we're capable of. And we're all confident in each other, and I think that's what gets us through the matches.
Getting through the matches. Back to you guys.
Confidence so critical. We've seen it here time and time again, Andrew. The nerves on the big stage, so important to work through. And these two teams, though, have shown they are ready for it. What they're also preparing right now, though, are their lineups for 2v2, 1v1, choosing their card bands for those sets. To find out more, let's go inside the war rooms.
All right, boys. All in here?
Yeah, we're all in here.
Going for our 5th combination, 2v2. This is
Fourth?
All right, 4th. This is the one. I feel it. Let's go out there. We've practiced harder than any other week. I think we're ready. I think our 2v2 game is strong. And Colin, I don't really have to tell you much for 1v1. You know what you're doing. We trust you. And let's not give Chris a chance to play. No?
What are we having for dinner?
Chris,
That's the real question.
let's give you the day off,
Oh,
you know?
Thank God.
So your back doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I have back problems.
Yeah. Nice. So anything anyone wants to add, we know the bands. We prepared for them.
What's for dinner?
For dinner, if we win, Chick-fil-A. If we don't win, Chick-fil-A. And let's get it, boys. Let's win this. Let's go.
You guys know what to do. You guys have been preparing for a while. Don't forget to communicate as always. Don't try to predict them. Vulcan, we need you to win the 1v1. That's really important. 2v2, they haven't been doing so great, but don't underestimate them. Just play your game and, make it happen. And, yeah, TSM on 3. 1, 2, 3. TSM!
Put the rascals to bed. Fill the troughs for the royal hogs. They're my favorites. And don't forget to spike your logs. It's time for a 2v2 throwdown. Cloud9 and TSM, send your double duelers into battle.
All 4 duelers making their way to the podiums, and it looks like TSM sticking with what they know. Fire Surfer making another appearance against yet another lineup change for 2v2 from Cloud9.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at Baron and Wings here, and I was talking to Eric before the match. This is their 5th combination for 2v2. Baron has yet to win a 2v2 set, and maybe, just maybe, this is the winning combination. On the other side, Fire Surfer, you know to come and love them. We all love their nickname. Let's see if they can bring the win home today for TSM.
The bans for this entire set, Tornado and... look at that, Firewolf and Air Surfer taking Rocket off the table.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we saw earlier today how detrimental Rocket can be when you get that taking out a troop, passing by a Princess Tower. You get the troop killed, you do all that, 400 plus damage to the tower. It's a really, really powerful spell. And over the course of 3 minutes, that's an insane amount of damage.
You can cycle that down a bunch in 2v2 with so much elixir. And looks like Firewolf and Air Surfer want that off the board. What can they do here against Cloud9? 2v2 now underway. TSM's Firewolf and Air Surfer at the top of your screen. C9's Wings and Baron at the bottom. Andrew, I was talking with Sashenka, the coach from TSM, and he was saying that 2v2, they kind of see an opportunity here. They're looking to try to sweep this thing early and not let Cloud9 get into that King of the Hill mode.
Yeah, and I was talking to the coach over on Cloud9, and they're really, really trying to figure out their winning combination with the game always evolving, with the meta always changing, and with your opponents continuing to play better and better. They think, actually, a lot of people believe Complexity has the strongest 2v2 duo. They actually believe that Energy does, and it's because of their communication. So I'm curious to see how they're going to take the communication and implement it in their strategy today.
Well, the first blood drawn here by Cloud9, taking the left-hand tower down to 18-11 of TSM. Interesting deck choice here from Team SoloMid. We're about to see them make a big old push there. And yes, as it drops, I think we see it. There we go. There's the Golem in that back left-hand corner. Interesting, you know, TSM, they were telling me about their last 2v2 match that opened up in that crazy back and forth with Energy, that they were trying to do the Golem Breaker deck, that they were trying to figure it out, and they ended up running an anti-Golem deck against a non-Golem deck and were caught off guard in 2v2.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is you obviously never know what your opponent's going to run, so now it seems like the idea is that you need to have a deck that can take care of an air tank and a ground tank, hence the Princes and the Inferno Dragons and these such cards throughout each hand. Now, what I am surprised to see is that TSM is playing the Wizard, a card that we have hardly seen at all in CRL, whether it's 2v2 or 1v1.
Why do you think that is, Andrew, that the Wizard hasn't really been here very much?
I honestly believe it's because the Ice Wizard is so much more utility. It's a little cheaper. It slows all the troops down. It's not quite as squishy feeling as the Wizard. So I personally believe it's just because the Wizard, although being great, the Executioner and the Ice Wizard provide so much more utility.
Choosing to let that extra 200 damage go on the left-hand side is TSM's Airwolf and Fire Surfer. Or Firewolf and Air Surfer.
Yeah, I did the same thing before.
all over the place. And that's a really interesting note here that they're letting that one go down. Now that left-hand tower pretty much definitely going to go down here, choosing to put their stuff behind that big push. But do you think they have enough on the board now, especially with that push on the right-hand side?
I mean, they just did C9 just did such a great job of stopping the Wizard behind the Golem there. I don't believe that Firewolf and Air Surfer supported their push enough or defended their Princess Tower enough on the opposite side. It really does feel like they've been caught behind throughout this entire match, and it doesn't seem like TSM's going to have enough time in the next 12 seconds to take a tower.
Game number 1 going for Cloud9. The young players, again, Firewolf and Air Surfer, both 18 and 16 respectively. Young, creative players taking some risks, trying things out. But here they are up against Baron and Wings, and maybe two guys who you want to play. You know, you don't want to be predictable, but also like you're against two guys who really know how to play this game correctly.
Yeah, and here's where you see they're just completely split in Elixir. They're pushing one lane, defending the other, not sure what to do, and they're just kind of caught not really supporting anything enough. Their towers are all getting very unhealthy. Baron and Wings really just doing it there. And that's a big part of 2v2. I think it's actually the biggest part is the communication. And as you saw, Baron and Wings were very much on the same page throughout, whereas it seemed Fire Surfer was not.
Is it possible that Cloud9 has finally found their rhythm, found their match today?
I mean, maybe. Ideally, that's what they're looking for, but you know things always change here in 2v2.
Game number 2 on its way. The second game on its way. TSM still at the top of your screen, C9 at the bottom. And a reminder one more time, the Tornado and the Rocket are the ban cards for this entire set.
Yeah, C9 right here, so close to taking their first 2v2 set for Baron and Wings.
So it's the Miner getting on the tower. A little shift in strategy here from TSM, Team SoloMid. Looking to switch things up here a little bit and get things back in the second game.
Yeah, it looks very much like they're going to be running a double Golem deck based off of the cards I see in their hands so far. And there's one.
Baby Dragon, 2 cards that can clean up a lot. Both teams opting to put that card on the board.
I don't know if I like the Miner right then. I don't know. I know it's so small, but I just think it was just a little bit extra.
Well, that little extra put that tower down to 18-20, so we will find out as the game goes on. Now, interesting note here, Andrew. We've seen TSM do this twice. They're starting their Golem pushes rather than behind the King Tower in that corner. What reasons might there be for putting it in that spot as opposed to behind the King Tower?
Maybe just to avoid all the troops that might be coming across in the middle of the map for the other team, for C9. Interesting push here, though, from Cloud9, not supporting their Lava Hound a lot other than with that Miner. But then you see that I didn't know it was coming. The Lightning coming in to clear up all those troops. The Miner is tanking. Wow. That was a beautiful play because at first it didn't look intimidating. At first it actually looked like they might be wasting their elixir, but you forget about the Lightning. All of a sudden, all those troops disappearing. The Lava Hound pops. Wow, that was incredible.
Here we are entering double elixir time in just a few seconds, and Cloud9 for the first time looking like they might be in the driver's seat in the 2v2 set.
And on the other side of that, you got TSM in the exact opposite position that they were trying to be in by the end of this very first set, looking like Cloud9 is going to complete the sweep.
And now with under a minute remaining, it all rides on this Golem push. Can Airwolf and Firewolf and Air Surfer, can they get this thing together and make this push count and continue this thing, sending it into sudden death overtime?
Yeah, well, right there you saw that the Miner was not going to get the utility they wanted, so they kind of stopped supporting it. Now they're going to focus on defense. The Lava Hound is actually a defensive play. They're looking for it to pop right here, help out with the Mega Minion, help with the Prince, help with the Flying Machine.
Those Lightnings have been so devastating for Cloud9 so far, but look at this, 20 seconds left, and that right-hand tower is in danger.
Yeah, but don't be fooled, Rich. It's a lot of spell damage coming down, which means the TSM is going to be at a massive elixir disadvantage going into overtime if they are able to kill that tower. So I see a double Lava Hound push coming through, really, really aggressive here from Cloud9, because I feel like I'd have the advantage.
A little bit of grrr coming from TSM there. Happy to get that tower down. Look, they may not win this game. We have a lot of game left to play, a lot of health on these towers. But that has to feel like a big victory, getting that Baby Dragon and not having to spend extra elixir. And that Lava Hound not picking up the damage there and saving that tower.
And TSM did a great job of the predictive Flying Machine and Fire Spirits, waiting for a troop to come in the middle to help support. Cloud9 saw that, realizing that they were playing so defensively, had no other option other than just to let their push die.
So now we are into our sudden death overtime period, and it seems to be Cloud9, though, still deciding, dictating where the action takes place here.
Yeah, it does still feel like they're in the driver's seat. However, TSM has to feel much, much better than they did with 30 seconds left of regulation.
Now, with two really heavy beatdown decks, we've seen TSM kind of shift their defensive tactics, playing fairly well. With only 2 minutes left, at what point do you think they decide to play for the draw? There is a true draw allowed at this stage in the game.
Well, you see that TSM keeps expecting them to play a unit in the pocket or right there in the middle, and they're not doing it. Cloud9 is refusing to do it. I keep expecting them to do it as well, and maybe it's just because TSM's predictive defense is stopping them.
So this is a big thing. You see now both the poison and elixir expenditure there in the middle. Smart moves, it seems, from TSM, doing whatever they can to make sure spells do not get played on their half of the field.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. They do not want any spell damage connecting to their towers. They're going to just keep pushing every single time they can with the Lava Hound. Really, really tough time breaking through right now, though. And if I'm TSM, I might be starting to play for the draw.
We're down to 1:13 left. If they can handle this miner and keep this damage off the tower, now under 1,000 and under 800, things start to change very drastically here.
Really odd fire spirits off to the left side of the map that kind of just didn't do anything. They just kind of ran around, died, and then got picked off. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know what that was, but now it seems like that's going to be what cost him the game.
And that looks like it's going to be it. We're just waiting for one more spell. Forget a spell, it's a miner. And we're going to see, no, down to 2 HP. I mean, it's a nice little bit to hold off there and say we will not go down without a fight. But that is GG's there in game number 2. Cloud9 for the first time taking a set in 2v2.
Yes, they did not go gentle into that good night. But yeah, Cloud9 taking the win, taking the 2v2 set, well on their way to a sweep over TSM, and that's exactly what they wanted. And here we're back to the very first time that miner came in, the Lava Hound popped, just exactly what you want to happen. Target retowers on top of the Princess, Pups and Mega Minion go to town. That's exactly how C9 wanted to start. However, they ended up finding themselves somehow in overtime with a minute left, battling right here.
So there are those fire spirits you talked about, Andrew. Where do you think they should have been played? Should they have been played further to the right, closer to the Lava Hound?
Yeah, or maybe just right on top of the miner that came in, just somewhere where they actually provided more utility. Right then, they just seemed like it was a waste of an elixir to me.
Well, also took a while. You saw the third of those fire spirits going almost all the way over to the left-hand lane, and then just barely aggroing back.
And again, they didn't really do anything. So Cloud9 taking that very first set, maybe on the shoulders of small misplays by TSM.
Well, again, now we have one team getting their act together, and that's Cloud9 for the first time here at CRL going into 1v1 with the advantage, but they are up against a beast. Coming up next in 1v1, it's going to be CMcHugh against Vulcan.
Cloud9 claimed the 2v2 crown and can bring out the brooms with a 1v1 sweep. Does TSM have what it takes to rally back from near doom? CMcHugh and Vulcan decide it on the field of battle.
And here we go, two players who are very familiar with each other, CMcHugh and Vulcan. They have met in ladder, they have met in tournament. These guys know each other very, very well, and they've split some wins.
Yeah, CMcHugh has yet to lose a 1v1 set, and he's 9-2 overall in King of the Hill. You go over to his opponent, Vulcan is 3-1 in 1v1 sets, and 4-1 overall in King of the Hill. Both these guys are the head-to-head superstars of their team. I am so excited to see who's going to take this set.
A tornado ban for CMcHugh, and Vulcan and TSM taking Prince off the board.
Yeah, these are pretty standard bans, honestly, moving forward. The Prince has proven to be so powerful at stopping anything on the ground and creating an incredible counter push. I like the ban of the Prince.
Two of the top 1v1 players in CRL, maybe two of the top 1v1 players in Clash Royale overall, coming here right now to decide their team's fate. TSM's Vulcan at the top of your screen, CMcHugh representing Cloud9 from the bottom. And you know what? You never want to be going into 1v1 with the disadvantage. Vulcan has been here many times before. You got to know he feels comfortable.
Yes, absolutely. And both these guys have run a slew of different decks. I'm really excited to see what they come out with today.
So the Hunter making an appearance for Vulcan, seeing a lot of that as of late. And CMcHugh with the Rascals and an aggressive offensive poison early on to take care of that Hunter.
Yeah, you see the Hunter, you see the Miner, you think Giant. And then on the bottom of the screen here, I'm not positive. Rascals and Goblin Gang you usually see in Mortar Bait, but then Ice Spirit and Poison you don't. And there's the Giant coming in for Vulcan.
And the Giant played in the back, taking advantage of that little opening with the Miner is CMcHugh. The first minute down, and it is the Cloud9 representative out to an early lead.
Oh, this could be that Miner Poison control deck. Iteration of it that Brad was kind of running on stream with the Inferno. Yep. If only I could speak just a little faster, Rich.
If you've been watching, B-Rad, his Miner Mondays, you'll probably see pretty much every variation of a Miner deck that can possibly be played. And here is one more. Both players now putting Miner on the board.
Yeah, this is a very, very strong deck, but it is also a pretty high skill cap deck, in meaning that I did not do great with it.
Well, it is in the hands of a high skill player in CMcHugh. So now we'll see what deck archetype built around the miner can be more successful. And right now it is Vulcan taking the slight lead.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You want to go ahead and pick matchups here, but they've both got slight disadvantages. Now, Vulcan still being able to get to the tower despite his giant being distracted by the tombstone and being stopped by the Inferno Dragon. And on the other side of that, you've got CMQ with the miner and the poison. So it's basically Vulcan probably trying to get exactly spell value with his fireball, miner on the tower, and CMQ doing the same with his miner and his poison.
So CMQ running a slightly faster deck with a 9 elixir cheapest cycle. Vulcan on the other side, looks like the cheapest he'll get down to is about 10. So not a significant difference here, but one that could play into CMQ's advantage as we go along.
He's trying to catch the giant right at the river, and he's really thinking about that miner coming in. He can't catch it every single time, but he's doing his best with that goblin gang.
Well, a big note here for Vulcan, knowing that there is no tornado on the board, especially at this stage, of course, in the game. He can put that miner anywhere he wants when that giant is out there tanking, not worry about activating King Tower.
Yes, whereas CMQ probably not as worried about activating King Tower, but it's definitely a possibility that Vulcan could fireball his miner into the tower.
And now this miner getting that tower almost into spell range at 554. I think the real question going to be here is what does Vulcan do defensively in the next few seconds, and can he keep this slight elixir lead moving into sudden death overtime?
Such a crazy close match. It's going to come down to catching a miner, defending, and he got it this time. He caught the miner. It's a huge play for him. He has to use the Ice Spirit because Vulcan used the zap. This is great heads-up play from both of these guys, and honestly, CMQ might be in the driver's seat now.
A Hunter picks up a lot of that minor damage, but now down at 287. His tower in a lot of danger. So the question here is, what can Vulcan do fast enough? And a beautiful log with the miner coming in. This could be it right here. This might be the entire change. A defensive miner to pick it up. But no, that is it. Vulcan once again. Unflappable. You know, this is a guy who people in the community, some people say the people in the know how dangerous, how frightening, how skillful Vulcan is. Some people have not given him the respect he deserves because he flew under the radar for a long time.
And this is just a huge misplay by CMQ. You got to imagine that Vulcan wants to log your rascals, get rid of those rascal girls, stop the damage, but he drops the Goblin Gang right in the log's path, not being able to pick up the miner, not being able to stop up the troops, literally throwing away 3 elixir and the game. You hate when that happens. Sometimes it just does. You panic, right? You want to defend your tower, and CMQ just get caught right there by the log.
Well, he knows who he's up against in Vulcan, as I was saying before. And when he won the King's Cup 2 with Surgical and Clash with Ash on his team, people didn't give him the respect he deserves. But those people who know Vulcan and have seen him play know he's one of the best of the world, and he's showing that right here, right now. Game number 2 on its way. Vulcan, with a win here, can send this thing to King of the Hill. But again, one of the best in the world across from him and the 2-time #1 global finisher, CMQ.
Yeah, wondering if we'll see that Prince log bait deck with the Princess coming out for CMQ. Wow, that first match, the big log of justice coming through and taking it for Vulcan. Let's see what happens here in match number 2.
And now we have Royal Hogs against Balloon. You know, we're not going to see that Prince, of course, because it's one of the 2 ban cards along with Tornado. And both players, playing cards that really have a strong advantage when the Tornado's off the board.
I don't know if I would have fireballed that. I think I would have maybe just let my Princess take it out. I don't think it would have gotten to the tower. I think it would have just been death damage. And then also my Princess would have survived.
Very interesting play here. And, you know, again, at this high level, just a small misplay, even just a small, not even misplay, just a small decision where it's like, oh, this is the second best decision.
Right,
can be such a huge difference.
Exactly. Second best decisions in CRL. You may have to pay for them. They may just get overlooked.
So Lavaloon, pretty traditional style Lavaloon coming so far from Vulcan. And we are seeing, I don't know if we've seen a lot of the Royal Hog with the Princess deck here. I'm trying to rack my brain. I think we've seen that more in other deck archetypes. But now, a pretty nasty Lavaloon push coming down the right-hand side for Vulcan.
Yeah, very similar to that, you know, that mini P.E.K.K.A Princess deck. We're seeing that the Royal Hogs being filled in for the regular Hog has been really effective. Really interesting here that CMQ is actually able to get that much damage done to Vulcan. It felt like Vulcan really was just taking the tower there, but wow, that mini P.E.K.K.A. when it gets on your tower is brutal.
Well, it's also possible Vulcan here being happy with the tower trade, knowing, or at least believing that when he goes into double elixir time, he has the advantage.
Yeah, probably what's going on in the back of his mind, especially because there's only one tower to focus on. You can't really split the Loyal Hogs as easily, makes them much less of a threat.
And so now his right-hand tower going down as well. Vulcan here in kind of a tough spot now. The Royal Hogs nearly dropping the right-hand tower.
I'm kind of speechless right now, Rich. I don't really know what's going on with the decision-making here. I understand part of, like, you know, taking some damage here so you can create a bigger push there, but that's way too much damage to be taking. Now he's behind.
Although, here we go. Now we're seeing some significant damage. We're going to probably get tower here on the left-hand side for Vulcan. And so now this is a question of who can get the 3 crown. Will it be the Royal Hog deck of CMQ, or will Vulcan slide one more balloon through and get this thing done on the opposite end?
Really what it is Vulcan recognized early on that a 3 crown victory for him would be very easy because CMQ only has 2 air responses. So despite seeming like he was behind, Vulcan was never out of control of the game. He was okay losing the tower to gain a massive elixir advantage, and he just took the game without breaking a sweat. And as you can see, this is the first time he breaks through here. A great zap on those bats. You get the Lava Hound tanking, you get the balloon coming in, it starts to tank for the Lava Hound, takes the tower. Wow. And
then here we see the finish. Just as I was saying, looks like he might be trying to slide one more balloon through. There it drops, and now we're getting the 3 crown finish. All your base are belonging to us, says TSM's Vulcan. You know, at this point, I know that he didn't choose the name because he actually didn't know anything about Star Trek until he already chosen the name.
Right.
A thing he told me, but it feels like he's in a mind meld. Feels like he's inside his opponent's head. He can see the future. Vulcan doing things that pretty much no one else is doing here at CRL.
Yes, the Vulcans are beings of a higher intelligence, and my goodness, did it seem like he just figured it all out. Like, it's like playing against someone who's got 30 moves planned ahead of you in chess. I, the whole time, kept wondering, why is he doing this? Why is he doing this? I finally kind of started to see the method to his madness, and then you saw it when that second Lava Hound got dropped down, that there was just no response. Bats and Princess are not going to stop a Lava Loon deck.
And now here we are once again. Every single match for Cloud9 has gone to our final set. That is King of the Hill. Each team will nominate 3 players. Each player gets 1 life. The first team to eliminate all 3 players from the other squad will take the victory. Both teams here have found a lot of success in the King of the Hill set. Who will get the victory? They have to set their lineups now, figure out new lineups, new card bans, and we'll find out their plans when we go inside the war rooms.
All right, guys. Today's a happy day. We won a 2v2. We got this. Colin, you played well in 1v1. It was out of your hands. For King of the Hill, when Colin, then Wings, and last Baron. We've been here every match. We know what we have to do. No pressure. We all trust each other, like I've always said. And let's go out there and play our game.
Vulcan, you played phenomenally in the last set. We need that. We need all of you to play really well. So first, we're going Jack, also known as Air Surfer. Then Firewolf. Then Vulcan. All right? Stick to the plan. Don't think about what anybody else thinks. Just be yourself, stick to your play styles, you know? And let's get this dub for TSM. Are you guys ready?
We're ready.
I can't hear you.
We're ready.
How ready are you?
Really ready.
TSM on 3.
1, 2, 3.
TSM!
All right. Time's up, pencils down. Lock the lineups and make it official. TSM and Cloud9 have traded blows, but only one can earn the knockout. It's time for King of the Hill.
The final set almost underway, and leading off for Cloud9, CMQ up against the 18-year-old from Cleveland, Ohio in Air Surfer.
Yeah, no surprise here. CMQ kicking things off for Cloud9. Wings following him up, and Baron bringing up the caboose, of course, after that big win last match. And then their opponents, Air Surfer leading off and Firewolf in the second place. These two guys have yet to find a King of the Hill victory. But their ringer, their closer, Vulcan, 4-1 in King of the Hill, dominating 1v1 set today. He's looking to bring it home, if necessary, for TSM.
And our card bans here, Miner and Balloon being taken out. Very interesting. We just saw how that Balloon worked so well for Vulcan. And let's not forget, though, in that last match, Firewolf did get that first victory in King of the Hill, leaving Vulcan with just 2 wins to pick up.
Yeah, well, we've seen the Balloon. We've talked about it many, many times. It coming in at the end of a match, a sneaky Balloon, as they say, can be so devastating. And the Miner chips away all match long. If you can stop that damage, you're in a good place.
And here we are, King of the Hill underway. It is TSM's Air Surfer at the top of your screen. C McHugh representing Cloud9 at the bottom.
C McHugh with an overall King of the Hill record of 9-2.
And a nice pull, the Tornado not banned, so a King Tower activation to open up the game for C McHugh. And we are seeing some sort of hog cycle variation, it looks like, for Air Surfer, putting the Tombstone in instead of a more traditional cannon.
Yeah, and probably a Golem beatdown deck here. You see the Night Witch, you see the Tornado, and the Baby Dragon all working great together in excellent synergy behind that tank of the Golem.
Now, do you think that might be a reason why he has a Tombstone, is the Air Surfer was thinking he might be up against Golem?
I mean, we've just seen Tombstone be so effective against almost every single meta, whether you're defending against a Prince, a Golem, a P.E.K.K.A. It's just so powerful. So I just love the Tombstone right now.
So it's looking like C McHugh playing some sort of Golem NATO control deck, and a not super fast, but a Hog Rider deck looking to cycle that down for Air Surfer.
Yeah, and we've seen this new Golem beatdown with the Prince in it. I personally haven't run it yet, but I've heard how powerful it is. I'm really excited to see what C-McHugh can do, what it can be done in the hands of C McHugh.
C McHugh, again, such a talented player. Of course, the Crown Championship Global Series World Finalist. He's been in the big stages before, and we've seen what he can do here at King of the Hill. Now, important note, while he is 9-2 in games in King of the Hill, overall his head-to-head win rate is now just going to be 8-5.
Yeah, and he has a great luxury of having that King activated so that he can bring in and defend the Hog and the guards pretty cheaply, and he's going to be able to support his Golem push with his Poison and Mega Minion.
Sorry, I misspoke. 11-5 the overall win rate for C McHugh in head-to-head matchups. Still pretty darn good.
Yes, absolutely.
So Tornado pulling the Golem a little bit off, but now with the Baby Dragon in support, it will do some work on the right-hand tower for C McHugh. And we see the Hog Rider in the opposite lane from Air Surfer, but picked up fairly well by the Prince.
Yeah, this is a pretty tough matchup for Air Surfer. It seems that C McHugh has all the answers with the NATO, with the Prince, and then, of course, the beatdown aspect, having that Golem, the Night Witch with the air attack. C McHugh's real only strong defense here is going to be the guards coupled with that Executioner and Tornado. However, that's just not going to be enough when C McHugh gets the push that he wants from his Baby Dragon and all those other units.
So the Poison played pretty high there by Air Surfer. It does, but with the Executioner. And now a Tornado to activate the King Tower. Very nice play there from Air Surfer as we move into sudden death overtime.
Yes, really nicely done. And then you see when the Golem pops, the Princess Tower retargets on top of the Night Witch, taking it out. Really nice for Air Surfer there.
Although now he does have a lot of damage on that left-hand tower, not taking care of the Baby Dragon. So Air Surfer having to defend on both fronts right now, and C McHugh really only worried about that left lane.
Yeah, if I'm C McHugh, I want to Golem up again right now. I feel a slight elixir advantage, but he knows that Hog's going to be coming down the lane. Really tough position for him to be in as well.
And so a Hog supported by Poison. The Hog will not get any hits, but the Poison now doing a little bit of work, and the Log clearing some stuff up as well. Air Surfer putting up a pretty valiant effort here in this sudden death overtime.
Yeah, so if I'm C McHugh, I'm going to put the Prince down right there, and I want to throw a Golem down right in front of it, or I guess not right in front of it, but I'm thinking I want to push into this same lane now that I've got both towers pretty damaged, but my one tower is so hurt that I need to defend it with Golem pushes.
Interesting note here, Andrew. A lot of what you think of as the Golem support being played in front rather than behind the big tank.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that, Rich. Honestly, I feel like he should have definitely played that Night Witch a little farther back.
But not getting the damage on the tower is Air Surfer. The Tornado play from C McHugh definitely on point. And we are starting to get towards that midway point of the overtime. And it's going to start getting very interesting here if no one can start breaking through.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I believe that C McHugh should take this match.
The Executioner, though, having been used to perfection by Air Surfer so far, and now continuing to be very effective, not taking damage, and the Tornado doing nice work, continuing to keep that Executioner alive.
And doing a great job exactly with the Tornado and with the Ice Golem to keep that Tornado, or to keep that Executioner alive. Really great job. They're protecting his strongest point of damage.
But now it's the Prince Baby Dragon getting through the pickup with the Tombstone. So the big question now is, can TSM's Air Surfer find a way to break through? Or, now here's an adjustment. We have not seen the Hog Rider played very often. We have only a minute left. Is it possible, and here's one more Hog Rider maybe trying to close this thing out, but if he doesn't get it here, is it possible he switches to defensive mode and simply tries to play for
that
lowest?
hit was
Oh
huge.
my gosh,
that
there
was
it
a
is.
huge hit. That's going to be it for CMQ. CMQ can feel that this game has just been stolen from out
And
underneath
there
them.
we go, Air Surfer, who has not yet found a victory in King of the Hill, stepping up here and taking out one of the world's best in the opening game of our final set.
I'm telling you, that one push where you asked me, was it weird that he didn't put his units in front instead of, or that he was putting them in front instead of behind, and I couldn't agree more. Right here is the moment where Air Surfer plays such incredible defense. He is caught behind an Elixir, but he keeps up the defense, and then right here you see that last Hog hit and the Executioner axe coming in. That is the game. CMQ, I believe, made a couple of small misplays there with a minute and a half left that totally cost him the game.
Interesting note, you had both the Executioner and the Hog Rider pulled to the middle, but even with 3 towers active, could not take out both of those troops in time. The damage comes down, and now Air Surfer getting TSM one step closer to victory here against what many predicted was the going to be the number 1 team here in North America, Cloud9.
Absolutely. So we got Wings coming up next. Wings and Air Surfer for game number 2 of this King of the Hill.
So, I mean, I've said this same phrase many times over, but it bears repeating. There are certain teams where you go, as you might say, out of the frying pan and into the fire. Each person you face up against, it's almost like the continued boss fight where you're like, oh, you beat one boss, and now I have a second one. Wait, there's another boss after that? And now we have Wings, one of the best in the world, number 1 finish on the ladder, over 900,000 cards won in challenges, up against Air Surfer, who's trying to make his name.
We're going to see an Expo. Oh, we are. There it is.
And I've been waiting for this, guys. Air Surfer and Firewolf, both Expo experts, top-level players, and I've been wanting to see when Air Surfer might break it out, and I think with a little confidence under his belt after that win, feeling good enough to do it here.
Yeah, well, you see the cards that were coming out, the Ice Spirit, the Skellies, and the Archers, basically always means an Expo, and anytime that Expo locks on, you gotta stop it. As you can see right there, Wings seeing it lock on, the bench of TSM explodes. Every single time it locks is huge in momentum.
And look at how fast the deck is here for Air Surfer. I mean, already showing merely a 6 Elixir fastest cycle. So he's going to get that Expo down over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea, man. That's your win condition. The best thing to do is get it down and support it as best as possible. Know when to play it defensively, just like he did. This is a great moment. He's already got it to lock on once, so he can play defense for a little while here, keep the Elixir, keep control of the game, and then once he hits double Elixir, should be able to take real control.
And this is one of the big differences between an amateur Expo player and a pro Expo player, is knowing, I mean, many people know to play the defensive Expo occasionally, but knowing when it makes sense is so important. Not everyone can make that distinction.
Yeah, sometimes we see a big push coming and we're like, oh yeah, we should play it as defense. It's really about knowing the cycle of the other person, the flow of the game, where you're at time-wise, how much Elixir you have, and just being like, you know what the best play is? Using this for defense and defense only.
And look at that, the Fireball combined with the Split Archer taking care of those Royal Hogs. So Air Surfer showing off why he is the Expo specialist. You know, he's made it to 22 on the ladder, first in the game battle tournament, so the guy does know how to play, even if we haven't seen his head-to-head credentials here at CRL too much. So now we are halfway through double Elixir time, getting very close to sudden death overtime. And so far, a very interesting, very close, very cerebral battle between these two players.
And the Tesla was one of those units that before it was nerfed, the Royal Hogs were really a great answer to a deck that was running Tesla. So interesting to see Air Surfer still run Tesla, knowing that Royal Hogs are so strong in the meta right now. But it's still doing a great job of pulling his units to the center in time to get Fireball.
Look at that log pushing the Hunter back a little bit, just so not as much hits. Fantastic play by Air Surfer.
The Valkyrie.
We also moved the Hunter back on the right-hand side
gotcha,
as well.
Gotcha.
So taking care of both of those cards, and this is where you get to a point where you're feeling more confident and you can play a deck. You know, I don't know if I would call this a comfort deck necessarily for Air Surfer, but a deck in which he feels very comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's known as one of the best Expo players in the world, and we've seen CMQ use it a couple times here in CRL. It's still viable, it's just not as popular.
Now, interesting note, though, CMQ seeing the Fireball getting played and knowing he had the opening to play the high 3 Musketeers, which you wouldn't normally do.
Yep, and then an Expo running into 4 Royal Hogs is not ideal. However, the Expo has a ton of health. It, coupled with the Fireball, leaves you pretty healthy.
So this Expo probably not going to get tower, but still playing very well as Air Surfer, kind of showing off here in the moment what his skills can be. We've seen him mostly in 2v2, taking advantage of this opportunity.
Must have been just a hair out of cycle there, wanting to get that Fireball down on those Musketeers, now deciding whether he wants to play him for the Musketeers, the Royal Hogs, or just keep him for the next push.
So here we go. This is a very interesting development, that Musketeer on the left-hand side taking that tower down to 1158, because it definitely changes the tenor of this match. Beforehand, Air Surfer was kind of in a defensive driver's seat. Now things starting to shift a little bit into Wings' favor.
Great spell value there. Wings really taking care of every little bit of that Expo, which is what you have to do. The Expo does so much damage every second.
And this is the hard thing about playing Expo, is it's not a great card for switching lane. You kind of commit to one lane with Expo a lot. And here we're kind of seeing some of the ways that might hamstring Air Surfer as we get into the later points of this match.
And that's a big part about defending against the Expo. When you're playing against the Expo, you want your tanky unit to go down the opposite lane. That way the person playing the Expo can't defend their Expo and create a counter push. That is really bad.
So now the Fireball going to take that out when the Expo still aggroing onto the far side Musketeer. So with a minute left here, very dangerous territory for Air Surfer. Wings playing this thing very smart, not getting ahead of himself in the early moments of the match.
Now here's the thing about when you play against Expo. If you kind of figure out the solution to all of their offensive answers and you're able to just continue those exact same exchanges throughout the match, you usually can take the win. And that's exactly what Wings has done here. He's realized the most efficient way to defend against the Expo while still being able to push with those Royal Hogs. And unfortunately for Air Surfer, he just doesn't have the answer. I truly believe Air Surfer should have been playing defensive Expos to try to get 2 Expos on the field.
You know, that's the big question is, was there ever a moment when he saw that tower on the right-hand side getting under 1,000 and went, oh, I can close this thing out right here, and maybe got a little bit over-aggressive?
I just think that with this type of deck, if what you're doing isn't working, you need to change it up. And he kept playing the same Expo over and over. Wings was happy regurgitating that interaction and just taking damage bit by bit by bit, whereas Air Surfer was not able to connect.
And here we go. You know, we see some of this early Expo lock on. It feels like he's in control. And this is definitely where we get the tower taken down. But it's the hog push from just before this, the previous one that put that tower in danger. That was the really important hog push. You know, it looked like Air Surfer decided to let that one go and didn't really try to address it too much. Maybe didn't have something to address it in his hand. And now we are even 1-1 between these two teams.
Yeah, and I still am sticking by my guns saying that I think that he should have played a defensive Expo. Then you can use a defensive Expo and a Tesla coupled with a log to stop those Royal Hogs, protect the Expo, and then get your own second Expo down to attack your opponent's tower.
Well, game number 3 on its way. Across from Wings is the 16-year-old from Canada, Firewolf. Firewolf at the top of your screen, Wings at the bottom, and it's a Hog Rider for the C9 representative.
And it looks like another Expo deck here. You see the Tesla immediately coupled with the Archers, and you think Expo. Firewolf also a huge Siege player. However, that not being effective last match, you wonder if the risk is going to pay off.
Well, you're seeing up against a different deck this time, not the Hog Rider. The question, might there be 3 Musketeers again, which would be challenging. We have seen that pairing as well. But the one thing we didn't see Air Surfer do was get that Tesla down to protect the Expo, which is often a move you see with this deck archetype.
Yeah, and it's changed so much since the Tesla got that nerf, being so much less effective right at the river, zapping all of those troops. And there is the Expo from Firewolf. And this is going to be a big moment of kind of showing Wings' deck. Is it 2.6 Hog? It looks like it. We haven't seen the cannon yet.
So yeah, definitely is reading like that classic 2.6 Hog Rider deck. And interesting, you know, some of the traditional counters for Expo, some of the big heavy cards, tank cards, the Prince, the Giant, How do you feel about 2.6 up against the Expo deck?
You know, it's pretty cool. It's almost like we're in a retro match right now of a classic 2.6 and a classic Expo deck. And honestly, I think here it's going to come down to gameplay. With the Royal Hogs, they seem to kind of be the deciding factor in the last match. This being not dumbed down, but brought to the regular Hog, I think is going to be a little bit more of a balanced matchup.
So very fascinating, not going too aggressive here. The Fireball doing a good job, and now we see the Log combined with it. Both players making very tight, cerebral plays. And we're entering into double elixir time, and the slight lead on the left-hand side by Wings, but Firewolf still staying very close in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is what's so cool about these two decks in this matchup is it is strictly skill and gameplay based. Like, these two types of decks require so much understanding of what exactly every single card does, how every interaction is going to go down. I love it.
Well, you expect that these pros know how to play both with and against both of these decks. And I think in terms of a confidence boost, this is actually a really good place for Firewolf, because now he's playing against a deck he's seen before many times, assumingly. He's playing with a deck he's played before many times, assumingly. So now it's really just about how clean does he play against one of the best in the world.
Yeah, and both of these guys really doing an incredible job. As you can see, not a lot of damage being done here. Wings in a slight damage lead, but as we know, if that Expo even locks on once, the whole game can be lost.
So there we go. We sort of see the defensive posture it's going to take for Wings here against these Expos, using the Ice Golem backed up by the Musketeer.
And you know exactly what Firewolf is trying to do. He's trying to make Wings commit to go down the lane he doesn't want to, stopping Wings from pushing the actual weaker tower of Firewolf. And let's see if he can actually do that by continuing to drop this Expo.
And so here we see the Tesla played a little bit further back in protection. Does not stop it enough, and as we are into sudden death overtime, it's really, really tight here. Firewolf trying to find a way to break through, but with this 2.6 deck being so fast, it seems like there's going to always be something down in front of that Expo.
Yeah, and what I wonder is with that last exchange, not this one right here, but the one before it, had Firewolf placed a defensive Expo behind his then healthy Tesla to kill the Musketeer, would he be in a better position than he is now? I don't know, but I'm again starting to feel like a defensive Expo to support the offensive Expo is going to be the best way to win this matchup.
Well, here's where things get really challenging, though, because we are in overtime with only 1 minute and 45 seconds left. You kind of start feeling like you have to make a move because there are no draws. It is lowest tower takes the victory.
Yeah, and right now, Firewolf knows that his tower is definitely the lowest, and that's going to be a lock.
That's huge. It does get on, and then picking up the Hog right on the left-hand side. So now things are very, very close. We're going to see who can get that last bit of important damage and take this win here.
Great use of the Ice Golem there. As I said before, you want your tank to be going down the opposite lane so that your opponent cannot create a counter push.
And that's a big mistake there. The Tesla just a little bit too high. One swing could be all the difference in the final minute.
Yep, that's a big play right there. However, that stops Wings from comfortably pushing down that lane.
And notice you saw the very high play with the cannon to counter the Expo. We hadn't seen that yet.
Yeah, very interesting. Both these guys doing a great job of just stopping their opponents right at the river. They both don't want them to be able to either set up their Tesla or cross the river with their Hog, and they are both back against the wall right now.
And so now it is sort of a defensive battle between these two players. Who can keep that last bit of damage off their tower? And it looks like Wings probably has a lot of this sewn up, although now we're going to see Fireball cycle. And it looks like, again, great performance by Firewolf, but unless Wings makes a mistake here, it seems like he's going to have lowest tower when we finish this thing.
Yeah, he's really feeling that pressure. The clock is ticking down, and he knows that this Expo is his last chance to win the game, and there's just no way he's going to connect. Got to send in the Fireball, got to send in the Log. You just got to hope for it, and it's just not going to be there for Firewolf.
Oh, that is so close here.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, just, what was that, a 13 point difference? Oh, was it 1,011 or was it 11,000?
I got to look again.
We need to see that again. So razor thin close, and it was the Expo. So let's see that finish here. The Expo does get on. It's not this Expo,
Yeah,
it's
this
the
is where
next
they
Expo.
lock
Here
up.
we
This is
go.
where they tie.
He does clear it out with the log. The Expo does get on. The Fireball puts it just out of range. And
Oh,
yes,
wow,
we
yes.
are just 13
13
HP difference between being a victory and defeat for Firewolf. Wow, unbelievable. You have to respect the work he did there.
We have seen so many times less than 100 HP, less than 50 HP has been the deciding factor. And sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. How frustrating that must have been. But wow, what a great win for Wings.
Wings getting by the skin of his teeth. One more tick from that Expo would have been the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. He would have lost the game. So let's see what happens right now in this next King of the Hill.
Game number 4 of King of the Hill on its way. And there we go, TSM's Vulcan at the top of your screen. And if there's a guy you want in this position, it's got to be him.
Yeah, Vulcan here. He's got 2 left to take down if he wants TSM to walk away with the win today. And then Wings in a great position, knowing that he's done great work for his team. He's still got Baron just waiting in the wings.
But his heart has to be pounding after that last game. Just by 1 tick of the Expo, he barely got through that one. And now he's up against a guy who we know can beat anyone on any day.
Yeah, you wonder if he got just a little comfortable at the end of the match, thinking that he'd had it taken away, almost slipping out from beneath his fingers. But he took it, and here we are, Wings and Vulcan.
Remember your ban cards, Miner and Balloon, a King Tower activation, and Vulcan starting things off fairly nicely here.
Yeah, looking like a graveyard deck coming from Vulcan, and then Wings maybe running Royal Hogs with the Hunter and maybe...
We've seen the
Poison?
Three Musketeers attached there a
Musketeers,
lot.
definitely.
A lot of possibilities here. We already have 1 big spell on the Fireball. And there we go. There's the 3 Musketeers coming down from Vulcan, from Wings. We've seen this deck a few times
Yeah, it's
before.
a great deck.
The Poison, though, picking it up, and the E-Wiz sticking those 2 Musketeers in there. They could have escaped, maybe had a little bit of health, but instead keeping them right there on their side of the river.
High Tombstone to stop that. Muskie. I believe Vulcan has a slight matchup advantage here with the Tombstone and the Tornado.
Well, you're looking at Wings' deck, and the question here is, what are his responses to Graveyard? Now, we have seen people use the Hunter as a response, and Valkyrie, there's a fantastic one. Although, remember, the Valkyrie is just a little bit slower now than it has been in the past.
Yeah, and if it's stuck on one side, there's still skellies on the other 3.
So the Royal Hogs in a split push again. The E-Wiz kind of distracted. And the Tornado picks up a lot of that, but doesn't do a ton to stop that damage.
Yeah, not much getting through there. It was really important to stop the Valkyrie, and we're probably going to see a Poison coming down on the 2 here. What he's going to want, that's what Vulcan's going to want to do every single time.
So we are in double elixir time, about halfway through that period. Vulcan so far playing very, very nice with the lead on the right-hand side of the tower.
Oh, and the Mega Knight. Yep, this is tough. I mean, I love this Mega Knight graveyard deck. I haven't seen a ton of it, but it's been very popular because the Royal Hogs are so powerful. He's got great taking abilities, and then also the leaping from one unit to another, getting him closer and closer to the tower. I love the Mega Knight.
Really, Vulcan has made some great deck choices here at CRL. This one, no exception. And notice how also that Mega Knight doesn't just have the leap and the tank damage, but it also picked up, saw Wings forced to play the Valkyrie and the Hunter in response, got a lot of hits there on his right-hand tower from the graveyard.
Yep. That's what I'm talking about, man. The tanking ability of that Mega Knight coupled with the graveyard is so awesome.
We are in sudden death overtime, and Vulcan fighting for his team's life, and a brilliant play with the Tornado, moving them all to the same side.
Yep, now he's got nothing to worry about. You drop the Poison down, there goes 9 elixir for your 7, doing okay.
And the Split Hogs again picked up by the Tombstone. Vulcan one more time playing like he knows what you're doing before you do it.
Yeah, and we've always talked about this. Wings is doing a great job. Whenever you're playing against Graveyard, you want to meet your opponent's troops right at the river 100% of the time.
Now, interesting, you saw Vulcan just clean up the remainder of those troops on his side with the Tornado, but then letting 1 Musketeer escape to the other side.
Yeah, I bet he's just thinking of dropping the Mega Knight, honestly. That's what I would do if I was him here. I mean, you got the Hogs coming in and the Valkyrie. It seems like a perfect opportunity to get great value, but maybe he just doesn't have it in cycle or the elixir that he needs.
And the Tornado still pulling them back. You're got to wonder what Vulcan has in store for these next minute and 45 seconds. He does currently have the lead on both sides, but we've seen before that can be quite precarious.
Yeah, we need Vulcan, his team needs to basically get this push coming with the Musketeers and the Royal Hogs and the Valkyrie. Vulcan needs to drop a Mega Knight on top of that to get a great elixir advantage, a great trade there, and then to create a counter push based off it. Like right here, if you could get a Mega Knight down right there in the center, perfect.
Wings playing very well, though, you know, up against a very difficult matchup where there's a lot of answers for what he has going on, but he is putting Vulcan in some significant danger, and a beautiful kite there, taking that Mega Knight across the board.
Yeah, going to be tanking for that tower just for a second, but not long enough, and then great cleanup with the Hunter.
And then the Valkyrie pulling the Mega Knight over again, so Wings really planning ahead for how to deal with that Mega Knight, doing a great job.
Wings is going to want to send in the Royal Hogs behind this once again, but he knows the Tombstone's going to come in, so he has to change up his pattern. You can't just create the same interactions over and over and over.
And here he goes holding off. Seems like he might have gotten into your head beforehand, Andrew. Now we are down to just 37 seconds, and the right-hand tower of Vulcan in trouble. If the game ended right now, Wings would take the victory and seal this thing for Cloud9.
Yeah, Rich, if I'm recognizing it, that means they have 100% recognized it, and it's a great adjustment by him. Let's see if it can actually still take the game.
The Tornado to pull the Valkyrie off, trying to get that left-hand tower down under his own 908. Not going to do it. So now with 14 seconds left, what can Vulcan do to try to take this thing? He is down outside of a range where spells would work. He better hope this Mega Knight connects on the tower, or this is going to be good game and good night for TSM.
How Vulcan did not get a... Oh, wow. Wow, I did not realize we were that close to running out of time.
There we go. That is it. Wings coming through huge for his squad, taking out Vulcan. Vulcan putting together a really great performance and a great deck that had a lot of answers, but it just wasn't quite enough for the play of Wings.
And he was so close. Vulcan was so close to being able right here to actually get to the tower, maybe create the W, but as you see, Wings taking control of the game and winning for Cloud9, who is now 4-1.
4-1, Cloud9 taking the victory once again, securing that second place spot here in North America. And you really got a feel for TSM right now. They were so close. You had the one tick of Expo damage in the match with Firewolf and Wings. And then, of course, you have this one so close where, you gotta wonder, maybe was it playing that Tornado against the Valkyrie and Hunter on his own defensive side necessary in that moment? Little tiny things, a couple of HP difference, and that's all it takes here at CRL. Cloud9 going to 4-1 on some fantastic performances.
Yeah, you know they're going to go back and rewatch those tapes 100 times over and realize that they might have made a mistake here and there, the smallest ones. Literally, there was not like huge misplays in this game. There weren't moments where you're just like, wow, what is happening? And C9 just comes away taking advantage of those small misplays from TSM.
They do it once again. It was a whole team effort, and Christy St. John is standing by with the winners.
Thanks, guys. Wings, Baron, amazing. Obviously, King of the Hill, you took it. And not only that, but 2v2, which Cloud9 has been struggling with. So tell me, what changed?
We just had to find the right combo and perform on our communication.
Yeah, I think we only practiced 2v2. We actually didn't practice 1v1s this week, so we only focused on 2v2, and that worked out.
Well, you guys are amazing in both. Wings, I have to say, you played against 2 Expo decks in a row and did so expertly. Can you give me a little advice about how to defend against Expo from the other side of the battlefield?
Just use my tanks properly, make sure he couldn't take advantage of them, and then also I got my most damage when he went in with the Expo. I went in the other lane, so he couldn't push and defend at the same time, so that worked out well.
Great split lane strategy. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. Fantastic work from Cloud9 once again. And after that opening misstep in their first match, they have been on a tear, keeping that spot at number 2 in the standings.
Yeah, jumping into the standings here, Rich, we look and we see neither team has moved. However, Cloud9 really starting to separate themselves from the rest of the pack in second place, trying to take that first place spot from the undefeated Complexity. And then you got Team SoloMid now at 2 and 3, fighting to get over that bubble, getting into those top 4 spots. And really, like we said, the middle of the pack is so close right now.
Very, very tight. This next matchup coming your way in the North American region, though, two teams at the opposite ends of the spectrum. We have 100 Thieves looking for their first victory, while Complexity looks to stay undefeated.
As sure as Golem becomes Golemites, CRL keeps on rolling. Now a battle between teams at opposite ends of the standings. The last place and sadly winless 100 Thieves against the undefeated and seemingly unstoppable Complexity Gaming. Can Frost cool them off? Or will the Aztec Eagle keep flying high? Let's find out.
Already one breathtaking match here in CRL North America, Cloud9 and TSM, taking it down to the wire. And here we have a totally different style matchup. It was a battle for the middle, battle for those top 4 spots. And here we have Complexity looking to stay perfect against 100 Thieves looking to get their first victory.
Yes, a true David versus Goliath battle with 100 Thieves looking to get that first victory, looking to be the only team in the NA and the EU still without a win. We do not want that. And then moving over to the other side, we've got Complexity looking at these undefeatable 2v2 duo of Colton and Razor. Probably going to see the two of them again today, but you never know. They might mix it up. I just think Complexity here has got a great position.
Some fun changes on both sides. Chachi making his appearance actually in the room now for Complexity. A very fun, entertaining player. And now Gilgamesh on the other side with 100 Thieves officially out of retirement here playing for them at CRL. This is going to be a crazy one. And standing by with a guy who's been not only a big face in Clash Royale overall, but huge here at CRL. Christy St. John has Colton.
Thanks, guys. Colton, I mean, you are sitting pretty at the top, but that also means you have a target on your back, and we have seen some upsets recently. Are you feeling the pressure?
Yeah, I mean, we prepare for everyone the same. No opponent is weaker than the last in our eyes. So, I mean, as long as we don't get cocky, I think we're fine, and I don't think we are.
I see you before the match. You're very focused. You're listening to music. What's going on in those headphones? What's your battle ritual to pump up?
I have like a playlist of like 7 songs that I'm like blaring in my ears, and then I just like hop around, feel loose. It's something I've done since I like played tennis. So kind of do some of the physical stuff that I would do to stretch in tennis, and yeah, I just focus. And music helps me do that. And then once we're in the game, I just focus on the gameplay, and then comms and 2v2, and we're pretty good at that. So
great. So Taylor Swift or?
No, definitely. There's like an Eminem song, a lot of NF, and Imagine Dragons mostly.
Gotcha. Well, back to you guys.
Well, Colton might be imagining baby dragons coming down the side. We've seen the impression once before. Maybe we'll see it once again with a little bit of a victory, but who knows? Of course, both teams have to make big decisions right now. Who will show up in 2v2? Who in 1v1? What are the card bans? Let's take a listen inside the war rooms.
All right, let's go, boys. Let's
go.
do it. Time to go to work. All right, listen up, fellas. You've heard this speech once. You guys know the drill at this point, but listen, we're undefeated. That is not going to help you today. All right, this team knows what they're doing. Any team can take a win on any given day in this league, and you guys know that. This is a 100 Thieves team that almost 2-0'd Cloud9, so don't forget that. And then we just watched Liquid lose to Misfits as well. So anything can happen in this arena. You guys have to go out on stage and take it. All right? So lock in, find your next gear, and let's go do it, guys. We know our bands. We know what we're going to play, so let's execute at this point on, all right? All about execution. You guys go out there and take it.
Yep.
All right.
Sounds good.
Let's do it. Bring it in, guys. 1, 2, 3.
Complexity! All right, guys, gather in. I'm really excited today, recruits, because we are going to unseat an empire today, all right? Complexity, they may seem like they're really hard to grasp, but there is a simple truth that's going to take them down. And it's the fact It's the battle ramp. It's the fact that their record is not going to help them today, and our record is not going to hurt us today, all right? I'm wearing the colors because I believe that today is the day for the win. I'm taking off my manager's hat, and I'm putting on my fan hat, because I'm just going to watch this show. I know that our performance is not indicative of our past results, and I am so excited to finally get that chance to tear them down, all right? So let's reveal our inner barbarians. Let's charge into the fray. Let's all on 1, scream 100 so loud that it echoes in this war room until our next match. You guys get it?
Yep.
Hands in. 3, 2, 1.
As you know, it's good to be king. After all, us kings get whatever we want. Right now, I want a front row seat to a star-studded 2v2 showdown. Colton W83 and Raza, Eddie and Gilgamesh make it happen in the arena.
So we have Complexity coming to the podium, and
What is this?
And here we go, 100 Thieves. Once again, a battle ram and running all the way into the camera. You know, sometimes you just don't have a way to aggro that battle ram. I guess there's no tombstones anywhere in our studio today.
Those cameras are not cheap, boys. What are you doing? 100 Thieves coming out ready to battle. And no surprise seeing Gilgamesh and Eddie after the success they had last time as teammates. And obviously, why change it if it's not broken? The other side, Complexity, the undefeated dangerous duo, the wall as they've been deemed here at CRL. Colton and Razor looking to make it their 6th 2v2 set win in a row.
Your ban cards for this 2v2 set, Tornado and Poison, so pretty classic stuff. You know, Andrew, I was talking with Matt Rutledge, the coach of Complexity, about are they worried about predictability, sticking with that same lineup? And he said that the way they get around predictability is that they practice different decks every single week. You don't have to worry about having the same players if you don't know what they're playing.
Yeah, I mean, just because Colton and Razor are the dangerous duo for Complexity doesn't mean they run the exact same 16 cards every single time. As you see, they've only lost excuse me, 2 games out of 12 games and no sets.
It's undefeated between all defeated. Who will come out in the other direction after this 2v2 set?
Let's get it.
Let's go, boys.
Set number 1 on its way. Colton and Razor of Complexity, top of your screen. At the bottom, it's 100 Thieves, Gilgamesh, and Eddie.
One team with everything to lose, the other with everything to gain. This is an incredibly exciting matchup between David and Goliath.
100 Thieves very excited about this new lineup in 2v2. Again, bringing Gilgamesh out of retirement to be kind of full-time here with 100 Thieves. And, you know, they've said that they've been improving every single match. This is what Woody, their coach, was talking about. But they've come up against, as they get better, they've faced better and better opposition.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about CRL is as the season goes on, everyone is getting more and more comfortable in their respective positions. And Gilgamesh and Eddie here, even with the draw last match, ended up taking the 2v2 set. So let's see if they can do it again today and give the wall their first loss.
Kind of a shocker of a card there. I think I just saw arrows coming from the King Tower of Complexity.
I don't know. I don't know about all that, Rich.
I'm fairly sure I saw arrows. Maybe I blinked and hallucinated, but a card we have not seen a lot here in competitive CRL.
Yeah, I don't even know if we've seen it once. Maybe once.
Well, a very popular card. No, we have seen it because, of course, there was that miscount.
Oh, right, the Arrow Fireball.
The Arrow Fireball miscount. We have seen it a little bit. It's a card that's more popular on ladder with how often Minion Horde makes an appearance. Not as big competitively, but, you know, having that big spread to take out Swarm Troops could be valuable here in 2v2 when you have more card options. And very interesting here, a defensive use of the clone spell to take away some of that golem push, but the Lava Hound does get across the river.
Wow, yeah, it makes it all the way, surprisingly. The Miner's going to come and try to tank for it just a hair too late, but still getting decent damage for Complexity.
Well, the Baby Dragon pointed the wrong way from the Miner, letting that Miner get some good damage. And, oh, take a look. No, I was not wrong. Look, it is the arrows making an appearance here in 2v2. So 100 Thieves, Gilgamesh, and Eddie off to a good start here with 48 seconds left. They have a significant tower advantage on the right-hand side, but we do have another push developing coming down the right lane for Complexity.
Yeah, you wonder about the arrows choice, if maybe it should be a snowball instead, knowing that you're going to be playing the Lava Hound. Obviously, you think the arrows are coming in for a Minion Horde or things like that, but the snowball plus a zap will take out a Minion Horde, and you want it in your hand to push away those Inferno Dragons.
Now here we go, a nice push developing for Colton and Razor this one. And here we go, they use that clone to get a bunch of troops there, but cleaned up very nicely, most of those ground troops at least.
Wow.
But they are going to get tower, and now we're getting the tower on the side. So now we have a tower trade. We are going into sudden death overtime, and things are very close. But look at the King Tower here of 100 Thieves getting taken down by that flying machine.
I love the idea of the deck that Complexity is running. Now, of course, 100 Thieves deck is working out great, and it's pretty traditional, but what's great about Complexity's deck is it has this bait aspect to it with the clone, where you have to decide, when do I log, when do I zap? Is it on the first barrel? Is it the second barrel? Is it the fake Lava Hound? Is it the real one? Is it the pups? Awesome, awesome deck synergy between these two.
So Colton and Razor definitely putting some pressure on the King Tower down to 1275, but they have to be careful. It's just one tower now. If that Princess Tower drops on the left-hand side, that will be it.
The Skeleton Barrel with the clone and the Miner has been a really, really powerful play here by them. I'm absolutely fascinated by it.
But of course, the Miner now sneaking through 400 Thieves, and while their King Tower down to 675, that does not mean this game is done here. That left Princess Tower could drop very quickly.
Great pickup by the Miner, by the Dark Goblin, but a better use of the Zap to kill that Dark Goblin. The Miner gets a couple hits.
And now this looks like it could be it. That Lava Hound, not much there to stop it. And as we get the clone going, looks like at least some damage coming through. Down under 300, under 200. It's going to be it, a 3-crown. Complexity making a statement. Yeah, we are Goliath for a reason. You better watch out.
Just incredible. Look at, and here we go. We get the first clone. They decide to use the log on the fake Skeleton Barrel. The second Skeleton Barrel pops. There are so many troops for Complexity on the field. The Miner comes in, and then you realize the amount of damage that is done to the King Tower here, which leads to the 3-crown. Amazing replay from you guys in the booth.
Clone is a card that made its way into 2v2 a bunch when it first launched. Everyone's like, well, there's so many troops out here, let's clone. We haven't seen a ton of it here in our competitive format, but Complexity, like we talked about, staying with the same team, but if you have deck variants, if we can't predict what you're going to do, how do we stop it? And game number 1 in the books.
Yeah, and in game number 1 is the best time to use that off-meta deck, try out the new deck, because so many opponents aren't used to seeing that amazing play by Complexity.
Game 2 on its way.
Let's go. Finish it.
And here we go, game number 2 on its way. Complexity already on the board. Not a big shocker there. Colton and Razor continue to put it together. Eddie and Gilgamesh have some good synergy together, but you just look at that deck and maybe they got caught off guard. Like, what the heck am I dealing with here?
I couldn't agree more, because honestly, 100 Thieves had a great start, and it looks like Colton and Razor are going to try to run the same deck again. Now, I usually am not a big fan of running the same deck twice in a row, but it didn't seem like 100 Thieves had cracked the code to beat it. So why not try running it again? See if you can use all the different aspects of the win conditions for Complexity's 2 decks.
Gilgamesh before the match telling me he feels really good being back, and he's glad that he got that last game out. He performed very well there last time. And here we go, a lot of stuff on the board. That barrel, oh my gosh.
Even with the snowball, it's the amount of skeletons that are going to be on the field when that clone goes down with the Skeleton Barrel popping. That is incredible play from these guys.
Just as I was saying that Gilgamesh was happy to get those nerves worked out, we get a nerve-wracking moment as Colton and Razor do so much damage to that left-hand tower.
I mean, we've seen it here at CRL numerous times where Adrian Pieger created that new log bait deck, and we were all blown away by it, and he caught his opponent off guard. And we look right now, Complexity doing it again with their deck creation. This 2v2 deck is going to be something that every team studies this week.
Just continuously keeping everyone on their toes. Again, I'm going to sound like a broken record here. You think you're like, oh, well, we've seen these guys before. What else can they have up their sleeves? And they keep on doing it. And that's that direction of Coach Matt Rutledge, who he said to me something very, very important. We win during the week, meaning they don't win here on game day. They win with what they do when they're not here in the arena, and that's showing off.
Yeah, man, being a former athlete, I love that sentiment, and I love listening to Matt talk to his team. That is what it's all about. Games are won in practice, and Complexity has shown more than any other team that they practice to win no matter how well they're doing.
And look at that, forced to use the zap to get rid of that second clone baby dragon who was still on the board. And that's so frustrating when a clone troop just won't go away.
Yeah, and 100 Thieves here still doing a great job of trying to get through to that tower, but it just feels like they're ice skating uphill at this point.
That fireball picking up a lot of those troops, definitely helping out here, but with just 28 seconds left, the question is, do they have some sort of magic? They know that left-hand tower is dead. There's nothing they can do about it. They need to find a way through here in these final seconds. And here we go, a big swing, putting themselves in a better position, but I don't think it's going to be enough to make the difference here. It looks like Colton and Razor are once again going to do it here in 2v2.
Absolutely, and those arrows coming in for Complexity, cleaning up both of those Dark Goblins, and that is going to be it. Complexity with another 2v2 sweep. They are now 12-2 overall and 6-0 in sets. They cannot be stopped, my friend.
What unbelievable work, Complexity performing at a totally different level. And look, you have to admit that when the cards fall in your favor, that definitely helps, and the team knows that they've had some breaks that have come their way, but you don't get the breaks unless you put yourself in the position for them to fall that way, and that's what Complexity is doing right now.
Absolutely, and here's the replay here of that very first push. Even though they saw the exact same deck last match, 100 Thieves didn't know how to respond. There's just too many troops to clean up, too many skeletons, too many lava pups, and that is a dead tower in my book.
And of course, you see the arrows coming through at the end to clean up some of that. A really interesting choice, but it does pay off here for the duo.
Yeah, it works great for them, and this is no slight on 100 Thieves. We haven't mentioned them much. Gilgamesh and Eddie played a great match, but there's something we talk about. It's mentioned a lot in basketball. Great defense cannot beat better offense, and that's exactly what happened today for Complexity versus 100 Thieves.
Well, who will play that offensive style? Who will defend off their back foot? That's coming up next. Everything could be decided right here in 1v1.
Legends become legendary in moments of glory on the battlefield. 1v1 is when the lights shine brightest and legends are born. Adrian Piedra and Frost, your time is now.
Adrian Piedra one more time up against a guy who really showed up, nearly swept King of the Hill against Cloud9, and that is Detroit, Michigan's Frost.
Yeah, Frost here making his 1v1 set debut. He's gone 0-3 in 2v2, but he is 2-3 in King of the Hill, so you know he does have great head-to-head chops. And then on the other side, we've got Adrian Piedra. I love that Complexity has stuck with him. Despite his rough start of 0-3, he's won the last two. He's 2-0 in King of the Hill with an overall head-to-head rate of 10-7. Everyone loves Adrian Piedra. Everyone knows that this is the moment for Complexity to take the match, but this is also the moment for 100 Thieves to fight back and steal their very first win.
And take a look at the card bans, Prince being on the card ban list a lot more. And in the last day or so, it's been Princess getting on there a whole bunch.
Yeah, we've seen how effective these two can be together in a deck, alone in decks. The Prince has worked its way into so many different decks. I say just get rid of it like they did earlier on, and then the Princess provides so much utility. I like taking her out of the field to play.
1v1 on its way. Can Complexity close things out now, or will 100 Thieves send us to King of the Hill? You know, another note there, Andrew, one of the advantages that Matt Rutledge said they had on Complexity is that they have a team made of players who've played in public tournaments before. They've been watched. They've had cameras in their faces. And having that composure is such a key advantage in these early matches.
Yeah, we've seen how important and how impaired you can be by the crowd here, by the nerves. And it's so great for Complexity that these guys have that much experience under their belt.
So we have the Ice Wizard Tombstone and the Ice Golem coming out for Frost, Tombstone, and now, oh, there we go, the Mega Minion for Adrian Piedra.
Yeah, looking like maybe double Graveyard here, depending on. Adrian might be running something different, but I'd be surprised if Frost was.
And now with the Valkyrie, again, looking more and more like that's the direction.
Yeah, and, oh, but then the Royal Hogs come in.
Interesting, you know, we've often seen Valkyrie opposed to Royal Hogs, but Valkyrie and Royal Hogs together has not been happening as much as of late.
And again, if Frost here is running Graveyard with the Tombstone, with the Tornado, and the Ice Wizard, I feel like he's got a slight matchup advantage. But as we know from watching Adrian play many, many times before, that doesn't matter.
Well, Adrian does have a lot of Graveyard answers, though. He has the Poison, he has the Ice Wiz, he has the Valkyrie, so a lot of things he can do in response to that win condition.
Completely, Rich, and that's why it's just going to come down to strictly gameplay in my mind right here.
We're crossing the midway point of regulation time, and it is Adrian Piedra out to a slight lead on both towers. You know, the Royal Hogs getting picked up by that Tombstone. Interesting synergy choice here of the poison instead of Fireball.
Yeah, that is interesting. Maybe because he was worried about Royal Hogs as well.
Could have been the possibility, maybe that Royal Hog 3M deck that we've seen, 3 Musketeer deck. Also, maybe he did some research and put Frost on, Graveyard.
Yeah, I mean, last time here in King of the Hill, Frost ran the Hog 2.6 as well as the Knight Logbait deck, so definitely getting the Princess out of the way was a good idea for both of these guys.
Princess and Prince both off the board. We are now 25 seconds into double elixir time. No one's come out to a significant advantage yet.
Gotta think that the last card for Adrian is probably a Tornado with the Ice Wizard and the Valkyrie.
Well, we've only seen one spell so far, so it wouldn't be a big shocker.
And here's the moment where now that poison is out of hand for Adrian, maybe Frost can somehow capitalize or at least try to get that first graveyard down just to see what it's going to do. And you see Adrian is already defending by dropping these tombstones in the back, knowing that that's the best way to defend in his deck, passively defend.
Not only stacking those tombstones, but offensively forcing Frost to stay in this lane and not switch.
Yeah, yep. Exactly, and Adrian's just going to keep coming downhill, keep poisoning, keep sending in those Royal Hogs, and if he stays in control of this game, which that deck has such great potential to do, Frost is going to find himself in a really tough place not being able to break through.
But let's keep in mind, though, that with a Graveyard deck, the shift in momentum can happen so quickly.
Instantly.
So Adrian can never get comfortable here. The Ice Wiz getting eaten up, but still you gotta love seeing your Ice Wiz make it all the way across the river. It doesn't happen all the time.
No, it does not, and I just can't imagine how frustrated Frost is right now. He just cannot get a push put together. He has not been able to even cast his Graveyard, and this is a big push for Adrian.
That's a lot of damage on that right-hand tower, now supported by the Mega Minion. We are very close to going down.
And the Mega's on the tower. That's going to be the game.
Does not get the second one, but we are now in very dangerous range. Not quite poison, so you got to wonder, what is Adrian Piedra? What's his plan here? He does have to defend very carefully here. That tower can go down in an instant. Yeah,
and that is so demoralizing as a player to not be able to play your win condition until 1 minute and 40 left in overtime, and your tower's down to 1 spell away, essentially. So he's going to poison, and he's going to log, and Adrian is going to take game number 1.
Adrian Piedra now.
Doesn't
there
even
we
need
go.
it.
That is it. Fantastic performance by the 19-year-old now. Improving his record in 1v1 to 9 game wins versus 7 game losses. And 1 game win away from not just evening up his set record, but from improving his team to 6-0.
And you look at these awesome poison plays. Adrian knows that Frost has to play that tombstone to pull the hog. So if he gets the poison down on the tombstone, they're not going to run towards anything. And that Ice Wizard all of a sudden becomes much, much less powerful. And you see Frost's face after the game wondering, what could I have done differently? Honestly, man, I don't know. Once he figured out your win condition and your cycle and how he was able to keep you against the ropes, it just seemed like he had that matchup.
That's a really frustrating place to be. You mentioned it. You can't get your Graveyard down because you're so busy defending. There are certain decks that are just like that, Expo being one of them, where sometimes you can't get it down if you're not running a fast enough deck. So what does Frost have in store for game number 2? Let's go, It is double match point, as you might say in tennis for Complexity. Just need 1 win over the next 2 games to close this thing out.
Yeah, this could be it right here. All of the pressure on Frost's shoulders, and you know he's feeling it after that last game where he had no response to Adrian Piedra.
Well, we mentioned before, again, the live competition experience of Team Complexity. So important, especially as other teams they now have cameras in their face. They are playing in front of people. They're not playing at home, and trying to adjust to that here. And it's so far done very, very well for Complexity.
Yeah, and you want to talk about great confidence boosters. How about you losing your first 3 sets and your team going, you know what? You're still our guy. Do what you can. Don't worry about it. It's early in the season, and that has done wonders for Adrian's confidence here at CRL.
So Adrian dropping the golem early all the way in the back. The Ice Wiz getting on the tower. It will do a little bit of damage here and get that early lead for Frost.
Yeah, interesting thing here is if Frost is running a graveyard deck, which it looks like he is, you want to be able to pressure the opposite lane with a graveyard and a tank as soon as a golem comes down, because now he's just caught with only defending.
And the poison comes down as well, so a whole lot of damage. And look this, we got with a Lumberjack, could it sneak through? That's a very nice use of the Tornado and Tombstone there to stop that from becoming a very, very bad moment.
Yeah, and if that Lumberjack did not die right there, it would have been lights out for Frost. So I'm very, very happy with the defense he played right there, and I'm sure his team is as well.
The Ice Wizard getting a lot of work done, staying on the board now for a very, very long time.
And even another Ice Golem to keep him alive. He's done work for you. Pay the guy back. Keep him alive.
The baby dragon there starting to clean up, but it is a nice little lead being put out here for Frost on the right-hand side. So if you're Adrian now, are you going to continue to push that right-hand lane?
Most likely, yeah. And as you see, the golem's going to come down here. This is what I'm talking about, is you want to be able to create pressure as soon as your opponent puts that golem down. But here's the thing. If you create pressure in the same lane that their golem's coming down, now he's got units behind his golem healthy. Your push has completely been deemed useless, and you've got nothing to defend.
So very interesting choice here. Frost deciding to go in the same lane rather than opposite lane of the golem. And now with the baby dragon pulling all that defense up.
That is a really, really tough tornado to come in right there.
A tornado in return, though, so Frost still trying to stand tall here against this onslaught from Adrian Piedra.
And I got to admit, Frost is playing great defense, but it's just not going to be enough.
And here we go. It's a lot of troops on that tower with 11 seconds left.
And Complexity's bench is losing their mind.
Does not pull off the Lumberjack with the tornado, and that is it. Adrian Piedra once again. Can anybody stop Complexity? They are on an unbelievable tear, now going to 6-0.
And this is what I love about Complexity, from Matt Rutledge all the way to the players on the at the podium. There is so much excitement, so much support. This is what teamwork is all about, and I love exactly how Complexity is treating their star, Adrian Piedra.
Just could not stand up against that golem push. It's a clean victory here for Complexity. This is a team that on the bench has fantastic talent. You have Chachi, you have El Jefe, you have so many guys who know what they're doing here, but still stick with what's working. And this was the story of the entire game. Just trying to do good defense and stop this push from happening, but every single time getting damage on the tower over and over and over again.
And as you can see, Frost, I feel, got away with one with getting that Lumberjack down, and then right here, having to push into the exact same lane with his Mega Minion and his Graveyard. They die. Golem still coming down the lane. The Lumberjack is doing work. You've got the Baby Dragon and the Mega Minion that get raged up. How do you stop it? You don't. Adrian Piedra takes the set into, and honestly, Complexity takes the whole match in 4.
Complexity has not yet come up against the true opposition. I mean, we've had some standout performances in King of the Hill, but they are just clicking on all levels. It is unbelievable. And, we have to go and interview this guy one more time because he keeps on doing it. After starting out kind of with some struggles early in the season, with the support of his team, with hard work, he has put it together. Christy St. John is standing by with Adrian Piedra.
Thanks, guys. Adrian, 6-0. 6-0. I mean, you come into each match so prepared. Are you ever going to lose?
Well, first, it's amazing that all what we're doing, and well, I think that's because we're working hard, and we're gonna keep doing it. So well.
Now I have to ask. In game 1, you prevented him from playing his win condition almost the entire match. Did you predict that deck, or did you know during the game?
Well, I have it in mind, and when I saw the 7 cards, I was like, okay, he has a graveyard because he didn't play it. So I just play passively. If he poisons one of my troops, I can just commit an offense. And if I make him defend always, he's not going to be able to throw a graveyard push. So yeah.
Great gameplay. And hey, you didn't even knock over a podium this time.
No, well, thank God we did. but I give him that.
Back to you guys.
I mean, we almost get tired of saying it. Fantastic play by Complexity. They keep being next level.
And as you hop into the standings here, you see Complexity now 6-0. Just way, way ahead of the rest of the pack. And then you've got 100 Thieves here at the bottom, 0-5, really, really trying to bring it together. It seems like they're going to have a stellar second half of the season if they want to make the playoffs.
Every other team has fallen by the wayside, so that's the one we're waiting for with bated breaths. At what point will those two juggernauts, Cloud9 and Complexity, come head-to-head? Can't wait to see it. And of course, neither can you, so don't miss the action. Hit subscribe on the Clash Royale Esports YouTube page. Go to esports.clashroyale.com for all your information. And of course, swipe over to that Clash Royale Esports tab inside your app. Take a break from playing for just a couple of seconds and keep up with the CRL action. We will be back on Saturday the 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with more North American action. For Andrew Guy, I'm Rich Slayton. We will see you this weekend in the arena.
Bye.
Zowie! The Clash Royale League is a time for us all to watch and learn from the best. I mean, Adrian Piedra really put on a clinic. Today's action now lives on YouTube for eternity. For all to watch and rewatch again and again. Personally, I study the tape every night before bed. I encourage you to do the same. You never know. You could be a pro one day, too. To watch the very best every time they enter the arena, subscribe to the Clash Royale Esports channel. And remember, if you choose to go bowling with the bowler, don't be surprised when he rolls a perfect game.